The Geneva International Conference Center shimmered that evening with a rare intensity. Beneath chandeliers of cut crystal, diplomats in tailored suits moved with precision across polished marble floors. Their steps sounded like pieces sliding across a grand chessboard. The atmosphere carried the smell of roses arranged in elaborate centerpieces, but beneath that fragrance lingered something heavier, the smell of power and contest, of nations cloaked in courtesy, yet preparing for confrontation. Conversations in French, English, Arabic, Mandarin, and Swahili drifted across the hall, every sentence weighted with consequence. Security stood stiff and alert, their earpieces alive with static, guardians of order in a room bracing for disorder. At the center of one circle of attention, Donald Trump commanded space with his usual bravado. His voice, thick with self-assurance, echoed over the crowd. He gestured with wide sweeps of his hands, every motion demanding to be noticed. Around him, diplomats from Europe and the Middle East shifted uncomfortably. Their polite smiles stretched thin. The subject had turned to Africa, as it often did when Western leaders wanted to project authority. Trump's words rang out, dismissive and sharp. These African leaders talk about dignity, sovereignty, but what do they really know? The remark lingered like smoke. Heads turned instinctively toward a quiet figure at the edge of the room. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso's young president. His presence had been noted upon arrival, but ignored in the rituals of diplomatic hierarchy. He wore no extravagant suit, no gaudy watch. His simplicity made him stand out more than gold or silk ever could. He watched silently, his expression calm, but in his eyes lay centuries of struggle and pride. Trump, sensing an audience, pressed further. "I hear he plays piano," he said, voice thick with mockery. "A piano player? I'd like to see this so-called leader impress anyone with that." The ballroom hushed. Diplomats froze. Even waiters slowed their movements, trays hovering midair. Trump pushed the challenge further, puffing his chest. "If he can play, really play, I'll kneel right here on this floor." The words cracked across the ballroom like thunder. Phones were raised, cameras clicked. The stage of world politics shifted suddenly into an arena. And into that silence, Ibrahim stepped forward. His footsteps were deliberate, each one carrying the echo of his ancestors, each one a reminder that dignity does not whisper, it walks. He reached Trump with a hand extended, his calm voice carrying weight far heavier than volume. "Mr. President, I could not help but overhear your generous offer." The handshake was firm but not hostile. The crowd drew tighter. The Swiss host whispered nervously. Journalists began their broadcasts live, sending images across the globe before the drama even reached its second act. "There is a piano in the salon," Ibrahim continued, his words clear and unhurried. "It would be my honor to accept your challenge. But remember, for my people, music is not entertainment. It is memory. It is resistance. It is life," murmurs rippled across the room. Trump's grin faltered. The contest had shifted from mockery to meaning. The salon doors opened to reveal a Steinway grand piano, its black lacquer gleaming like obsidian. Diplomats flooded the space. Leaders abandoned private meetings. CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera scrambled to position cameras. Social media blazed with hashtags, #, Trump kneels, #, Traoré challenge, as millions joined digitally. In Ouagadougou, radios crackled as crowds gathered, breath held in collective anticipation. Ibrahim approached the piano with the reverence of a priest before an altar. His fingers brushed its surface as though greeting an old friend. He sat, adjusted the bench, and let silence build. Then came the first note. Pure, clean. The kind of note that silences doubt. More followed. Melodies layered with the rain rhythms of the Sahel. Harmonies that echoed Chopin, yet pulsed with the heartbeat of Africa. His left hand thundered like ancestral drums. His right hand soared with the laughter of children in village squares. The room transformed. It was no longer a summit hall, but a cathedral of sound. The diplomats felt it. African delegates straightened with pride. Europeans who had studied Bach and Beethoven recognized genius far beyond mimicry. This was not imitation, it was fusion. It was conversation. African polyrhythms braided with European counterpoint, fragments of Ode to Joy transfigured into African praise songs. Every note destroyed stereotypes. Every phrase built bridges. This was music as diplomacy, but sharper than any treaty. Trump stood frozen, his earlier laughter curdled into silence. The piano stripped him bare, exposing prejudice as ignorance. Each note was an indictment, each harmony a mirror. Cameras captured his shifting face, arrogance melting into disbelief, then into something stranger, fear. His promise weighed on him heavier with every crescendo. His knees trembled. The music climbed toward liberation, chains breaking in sound. The crowd swayed, tears streaking faces unused to public emotion. When the final note faded, silence held. No one dared clap. They knew they had witnessed something more profound than performance. They had witnessed history rebalance itself in real time. All eyes turned to Trump. His advisors panicked silently. His escape routes were gone. The world was watching, and slowly, inevitably, he stepped forward. Each movement seemed to drag centuries of arrogance with it. The marble floor awaited, his knees bent, cameras flashed. Donald Trump knelt before Ibrahim Traoré. The symbolism exploded worldwide. In Lagos, students erupted in dance. In Harlem, civil rights veterans wept. In Paris, young Africans filled the streets chanting his name. Markets shook. Diplomats scrambled. Universities held debates on the meaning of kneeling. The piano became more than wood and strings. It became a monument. Soon the Steinway would be moved to the African Union headquarters, enshrined as proof that dignity, once dismissed, could command the world stage. And Ibrahim, he remained composed. When Trump whispered, "I was wrong," Ibrahim replied softly, "Stand, Mr. President." Music was not meant to bring men down, but to lift them up. The mercy of that response broke the last barrier. The conqueror bowed, and the conquered forgave. In that mercy lay the deepest triumph. Within hours, the Geneva performance redefined geopolitics. Negotiations shifted. Colonial museums faced demands to return stolen artifacts. Western leaders recalibrated policies overnight. China seized opportunities to present itself as Africa's respectful partner. Social media immortalized the kneeling image as an icon, a moment when Africa demanded recognition and received it not with violence, but with artistry. Historians would one day call it the Geneva moment, and so it was. Power rewritten by music, a continent's dignity proven by the steady hands of a revolutionary pianist. The piano spoke, and the world listened. Its echoes would last for generations.